Okay, we're just going to freestyle discuss the first 4 suggestions. Now the first one we thought I elaborated pretty good. If you've read all 4 and listened to all 4 videos, then you know this is about people working together voluntarily, not counting on any kind of donations or money, campaign financing. It's a way to throw the yoke off of us from being pulled around by the ultra wealthy. They control both parties. They demand obedience, pretty much. They always threaten reducing their donations. So this whole beginning part is taking responsibility for ourselves and for our own future. Started with the equality complex, because if we think we're superior or inferior, we're not going to work as well together. Okay, the pitcher might be very important in baseball, the most important guy, but if people weren't behind him, every pitch could be a hit. So yes, there's different functions, but we're all on a team, and we got to work like a team. So anybody that's played team sports, been in a musical band or orchestra, or a construction team, road construction, any kind of crews, to maintain safety and get the job done, everybody works together and pitches in. So we had the forest analogy to show how nature, it's perfectly natural for everybody to thrive. And you may have seen the picture of the waterfall. I think having healthy homes and communities is as natural as water going over the top of a waterfall and flowing down. But obviously we've arrived at a point culturally where that's not happening. So let's rehabilitation, and upgrade. Okay, so I also had the family, so the genetic connection. So it's really important on the loving part. So you need to love yourself before you can love others the way you love yourself. And then responsibility. And that's the way we can nurture the equality complex. Okay, looking back is how I came up with the PACOA household model. And like I said, you can apply it to yourself. So let's do that first. Just kind of thinking out loud here. How do you protect yourself? Well, if your body's the house, then you're going to protect from being invaded. You don't want to get mosquito bites. You put screens on your windows. You don't want to get poisoned with hate speech. You don't listen to it. You don't go into areas. That's all you're going to hear. So you protect what's coming in, and what has already gotten in, you protect yourself from what's within. And you don't have to shoo out all the bad thoughts. You replace them with concentrating on good thoughts, making a positive plan. Let's see, what was that phrase? Of being able to project a positive outcomes. takes a lot of practice, and if you weren't raised that way, then it can be really challenging. I've known some people that from their childhood, negative outcomes are always projected, and it can be a miserable life. So by projecting positive outcomes, being optimistic, your brain will just naturally weed out the negative thoughts. And people will start seeing you project positivism, and you'll see positivism in others. Project positivism until proven otherwise. Advocacy is part of that projecting of positive outcomes. And when you start thinking of the positive outcome you want to do, you start making a plan. And that's where advocacy is. Planning the steps necessary to produce that positive projection. Charity in your own individual is forgiveness. It's when you forgive yourself for falling down, basically. And that's the only way you're going to get back up. My dad used to say you can't keep a good man down. And a good man will get back up, but it helps when we have others to help us, and then we do that too to help other people get back up. So charity is very important. By now, within your own life, you will have order just kind of start falling into place. Here's where that waterfall. If you're doing the first three things, protection, advocacy, and charity, you'll see order start to take place in your life. But if you don't see it, then you need a little more examination to see what's keeping the order from falling into place. And a real rich life is an artistic life. I mean, you could still be working an assembly line during the day, and you can develop your artistry. But that's just some creative juices going. So now you same thing. Okay, if you're a head of a household or a co-head of a household, it's very similar. Protect who comes in the house. You protect hygiene within the house. You protect the behavior of your dependents from hurting each other. You're an advocate. Okay, if it's children, you're projecting positive outcomes. You're taking plans so they are in a position to have positive futures. And of course, you're charitable. I mean, these people are totally dependent on the heads of the household. And you may even have elderly. You know, they fought the good fight, and now they need our charity to house them and take care of them. Just help manage things. And this will be a household with order. Mostly, I think, between protection and advocacy, things start falling into place. The heads of the household are earning the respect of those that they are advocating for and being charitable for. Sometimes, yeah, people don't, especially at certain ages, they don't realize the importance of respecting the people that have been looking for them, but all in all, it usually develops. It's something you want them to arrive at. Just can't force feed it. But you will have order. And an artistry can be a shared experience between the heads and the dependents in the household. Now let's take that further up to a community, either a small town, maybe a block club, or a precinct in a big city. Protection, well, the people that are assigned protection are the police department. Is your police department manned and staffed enough to maintain protection? Are the criminals going to be drawn to areas that are well protected? No, they're going to be drawn places that have less. So if you get the protection beefed up, the criminal activities kind of shun that area, and maybe with good advocacy and proper charity, more people will develop a larger horizon of expectation in their life, not to pursue the criminal, because the criminal is looking for a very short horizon of expectation. And I think part of this is the fathers who have abdicated the responsibility. But you could say city fathers also have abdicated responsibility, and local governments, they've passed it on to the states, and the states have passed it on to the federal government. So by keeping responsibility as close as possible to the home and to the self, people will develop further out horizons of expectations, working on their plans, projecting positive outcomes further out. Because when that's not around, the innocent are seduced into the easier way, the ways that are not helpful to anybody. Gangs are a substitute for community and family involvement. Charity, the flip side of charity is gratitude. And I think we've lost that, even in the word called entitlement. People are entitled to receive charity. What if the charitable resources run out? So a lot of people have gratitude for the charitable arm of governments, but some people, I think, do not. So I think help develop a good sense of gratitude. Gratitude is more important than pride. Just kind of stepping back. Anything you can say you're proud of, I bet you can turn around and say you're grateful for. If you're a self-made person, what if, who gave you that willpower and that strength of character to achieve those things? Be grateful. There must have been a mentor somewhere that helped you out. Express that in terms of gratitude. Gratitude is like a pyramid. You're at the apex up on top, but look at all the supporting structure below you. You can't even see it, right? Just see the periphery of it. So be thankful for all those that have come before you, and if the pyramid keeps getting built, you will become part of the structure for future generations. And just be grateful to be part of such a great edifice. Whereas pride is an upside down pyramid. Just a perfect example of the puffed out chest. Okay, it's top heavy. And that's why an upside down pyramid is going to fall. So pride cometh before the fall. As soon as you turn that pyramid upside down, it's going to fall. So that's kind of, again, the pack is important. Protection, advocacy, charity. So let's protect ourselves from pride, from getting puffed up. Protect ourselves from the negativity. And advocacy helps us do that, because if we're filled with helping others develop. There's the advocacy, helping ourselves, helping others develop, looking forward. You're not going to get hung up on the pride at all because you're thinking of how to make the future better, how to make the present better. Nobody is standing still saying, yeah, we're developing. And charity, how about the glass? You know, this is the thing. Is the glass half empty or half full? Well, if you're a child, it's half empty because you're in the process of being filled up. But if you're an adult, it's time to give. So the glass is half empty. It's a dynamic situation. The glass fulfills its purpose when it's totally empty. So I think in a lot of ways you cannot outgive the source that keeps filling your glass. And you know, pretty soon you've got a pitcher half empty, and you're trying to empty that pitcher. And you may be given bigger and bigger vessels. Order arises when people start realizing that there's love is in the air. More and more people are looking forward to the future. They're accepting responsibility. The horizon of expectation is going further out. We're protecting the innocence of children. People are happy to volunteer. And that's the way we become pillars. The heads of the households are pillars. Which leads us to the next one. Suggestion 3. Pillar Matthew groups. Okay, this is where the working together comes in. Going out beyond your own household. So if you're still with me here, let's get a list out of all the people that you think would be people involved living lovingly and responsibly. Let's go ahead and pull out a piece of paper. All the people you know that fit that, basically love and responsibility. And then you could narrow it down. Keep that list, but then write another list of all the people that are within proximity of you that you could actually meet with. And then in that list, pick 8 that you would like to host at a meeting. It doesn't mean you have to host them at your home, public library. A lot of them have rooms now that you can schedule to have a little event. Community campuses, maybe town halls. You'd like to host a meeting every other week. You'll see later the red week and the green week, or you've already seen that. So in the week you're not hosting, you should be part of another meeting. And then all the members of your group that you host hopefully will host meetings in the off week. And they'll be the hosts. And then when they come back, you're constantly got a reciprocating effect where people are sharing things they've picked up in the meetings they were at in the previous week. So Matthew, meeting and talking through how everything works. I mean, this is how we become experts. The current model is you hire an expert because of some credential and they foist something on the masses. And it's obvious that has not been working. So what we're talking about here is a governance. It's It's not the World Wide Web. It's what we want. Well, we are loving and responsible. So what we want is going to be something very healthy and good for our communities, our homes, our persons. We arrive at what we want by meeting together, talking through how everything works. If you have a great idea but it gets disproven in a meeting of your peers, you're going to accept that and be glad that you found out the flaws maybe in the reasoning. And that's where you get back into the equality and not being prideful. All ideas are great because you're using your brains. But discussing them and arriving at better solutions is good for everybody. Now, when it comes really close, two different paths seem like they're really close together, then you put, well, let's try path A for X number of time periods or whatever cycles, that path is measured in. And make sure you plan a good review of it, and then maybe plan path B would turn out better. So having the equality complex, being a pillar, meeting together and talking through how everything works. This is how we take it live, basically. This is action, not reaction. Okay, the size group, 8 I see is the maximum for everybody, all the various messages and the give and take to go on in an hour or two. So I would say at least 4 others, try and get a diverse group. We all know people of various ages and past political leanings. So looking to the future, that's all I want to say is it looks to the future. We don't even need to rehash the past. We've all been there. We're in it now. And I'd right now just like a little side note on the New World Order. Any of these globalists have a proven record of doing great things at a local level or a regional level that they can then ramp up to a global? No. Their whole premise is, look, we've done so poor a job that we've got to have control over everything to do a good job. And that just doesn't cut it. That's poor reasoning. Okay. And suggestion 4. Okay, now for a little while it's going to be about the money. And currency is the currency that we economically swim in. And the average person has been disrespected with their money. The money is their time and sweat and sacrifices. And my whole lifetime it's been pretty much squandered. By the 500 people in a distant city. So it's obviously that they don't have the discipline to manage the affairs of our affairs, our financial affairs especially. So I think that's a sign of disrespect. They can always find somebody, again, somebody with credentials to say it's okay to be in debt, it's okay to borrow forever and ever. What do you think? What does you people in your meetings think? All that money that we pay to interest could be doing the good things that they want to do, that they use as an excuse to go into debt. So, go into debt to constantly kill other people in faraway lands. This is the whole thing about this system. It's non-centralized. I mean, yeah, I'm going to present my ideas, but it's just being released out to everybody out there. So there's no control over what you and your groups come up with. But by networking over the wide scale of thoughts, philosophies, you will come up with a solution that has proven the best. And people from these meetings will be the ones that get elected. So let's dive into this a little bit. Okay, so getting the influence of outside money in governing. Okay, here's the method that's proposed and how it works out. People will manage the affairs of others in the manner by which they achieve the authority to do so. Okay, so the current system is you've been saying the right things, you get the attention of people with a lot of money, they donate to your cause based on what you've been saying and maybe some backroom meetings, and then you start spending all that money on advertising, right? And people get sick of hearing it, seeing it, flyers all over the place. So what do I... spewing forth blabber, promises, and mudslinging. And that's exactly what they'll do if they are elected, to stay in power and put down anybody that challenges them. But their mindset is about being in power. The mindset of a pillar is being responsible. Power implies something you have over other people. Responsibility means taking care of oneself, taking care of one's household, taking care of one's community, county, state, nation. Now, does it mean you cannot ever lean on somebody else? Of course not, just like in the forest. There's times, and sometimes it's a permanent situation, where you will become dependent on your fellow citizens. And those fellow citizens are happy to be charitable. And let's face it, who would want to be in the position of somebody that's in need? So they should be happy to be helpful to you, whether it's your whole house, your whole state. Like say, you're getting a little bit ahead, but say you're in a district of 7 states, but the other 6 states are doing well, but they need to help out state number 7. Well, they're going to also advocate for what changes state number 7 needs to do to get independent. But getting back to it, it's coming from a mindset, heart set of being a responsible, loving person, as opposed to somebody that wants the power. So, likewise, those who stifle the voices and assemblies of those that disagree with them, we've seen that. We've seen that big time in the 2016 campaign, by force and intimidation. Won't they rule in the same manner? Anybody that challenges their rule will be shut down, silenced. We can do a whole lot better. And here in 2018, we're seeing that with what's supposed to be the common town square of the internet, which gets us back to these groups meeting in person, 8 or 9 people, or less, so 6, 7. So in these groups, not relying on the internet and also being subject to the whims of the platform managers, these participants, as you meet and talk and share ideas, candidates will naturally rise. They'll be identified. Doesn't mean they're any better, but it means their skill set will provide them good tools in the elected positions, whether it's representing or in administrative positions. And judges. A couple of the skills that I see is good listening skills and identifying fair solutions. And if they're identifying them, they will be stating the aspects of those solutions that make them fair. So what are the benefits of this? Large donors will not influence decisions. Partisan politics will be on the ash heap of history, as they say. We'll see how long, but it's a constant. And we'll elect leaders with the household agenda of Becoa. Now here's the last note on this suggestion: for no elected position is too small to get involved in. And many of the solutions to come will involve parallel, concurrent choices through all levels of government. There may be times that you want to shift the load locally from the federal, so that, like you spend all this money collected, goes to more and more central locations and then comes all the way back out. Well, how efficient is that? It's the same money that you had in your pocket anyways, and how much comes back to the community between corruption and just the normal bureaucratic overhead. But that gets us through these 4. So please do, if you haven't already, create these lists of people. All the people in your life that are loving and responsible. Another list of people that you can actually meet up with on a regular basis. And then pick 8 of those. See how many we'll meet. Now if you still have more in the first 2 lists, then some of the people that you invite to be in your group, you can forward some of those people to them that may need help finding 8 people. And of course there's going to be a lot of overlap because it's people you mutually know. But it's a very organic structure, let's say, system. It should develop very quickly. So, thank you for listening. Dawn is a feeling. Looks more orange to the naked eye.